it was advertising for. The letters are 80 feet tall. They were originally made out of wood, and they had 40,000 light bulbs on them back in the day. But by 1946, the land part had fallen down, and all the bulbs had burned out. And by the 1970s, those wooden letters were really falling down, looking disreputable and rotting. So publisher Hugh Hefner and rock star Alice Cooper threw a giant celebrity gala benefit to refurbish those letters. They auctioned them off. Alice Cooper bought 2. Frank Zappa's wife Gail bought 1. And now all those letters are made out of Australian blue steel. And they are there for the foreseeable future. Earthquakes, mudslides, wildfires permitting. But don't worry, none of that stuff happens when tourists are in town. And if you start looking to your left, you'll get to see the Hollywood sign. If you look up ahead, those little fellas compensating for something. And if that sign looks a little bit weird to you, that's just the angle we're looking at. That's why I recommend you take a photo from Hollywood Boulevard. It's called Perspective. Go back to your junior high art classes. And if you look off to your left again, there's a little dome building out there. That is Griffith Observatory, where they shot parts of Back to the Future, Terminator 2, La La Land, and James Dean's classic Rebel Without a Cause. They have a statue of James out there. And if you look off to your left again, you'll see a house with an AstroTurf lawn and a swimming pool hanging off the hillside in earthquake country. And those people are insane. And that house was actually featured on the TV show Selling Sunset. But later in the tour, I'm going to show you 3 houses that make that place look reasonable and safe. And they're right next to each other. This next house, if you look directly across from us for a red house up there, can you see that?
Yeah.
That was built in the 1960s, and one of the carpenters who worked on it became a fairly successful actor, and he remembered it later on. And he bought it. It's Harrison Ford's house. He started out as an actor, or as a carpenter, rather. If you look off to your left on top of that hillside for a triangular roof, that is a house you can Airbnb for $15,000.
A night?
I don't know if it's a week or a night, but some of the people who've lived there over the years, Miley Cyrus, Jason Statham, Brad Pitt, Tekashi 6ix9ine, and for a while it was owned by Johnny Galecki, Leonard from The Big Bang Theory. And that show, for a while there, they were basically printing money. That was a wildly successful show. I worked in the same building as those guys, and it was just madness. Now, coming up on the left-hand side, this house with the red tile roof, that used to belong to Katy Perry. It's actually 2 houses. She bought one to live in and one so she wouldn't have neighbors. She ended up letting her sister live there because she was cool. But then they sold it to restaurateur Mr. Chow, and that's his gate right there in case you got a thing for gates. And then there's that green gate right there, and that goes to a public hiking trail, Runyon Canyon Park. Goes all the way down to surface streets. And so we've seen celebrities, people in this company have seen Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Will Ferrell on Runyon. About 20 years ago, I literally almost ran into Gwyneth Paltrow on Runyon Canyon hiking trail because I wasn't looking where I was going. Because people walk their dogs on Runyon and they don't pick up after them. And so I was looking down the whole time. If you look to your left, those are some of the discount houses up here because they're facing the wrong way. They don't have a view of the Pacific Ocean. So they started around 6 million. Start clipping coupons. Anyone ever see the movie Lethal Weapon 2 with Mel Gibson and Danny Glover? Yeah? It's a classic action picture, my goodness. Well, Mel's character uses a pickup truck to pull a house down a hillside. And it was this house right here on the left. And the other side of that house is 4 floors of glass. And it's on stilts. And it just sold for $11.5 million to the production company from Squid Games. And they're working on it. They're doing work on it because it's an $11.5 million fixer-upper. By the way, these houses to our left, that's the top floor. They go down at least 3 more floors. Anyone ever see the movie Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels? No? Oh, well. One of the stars of it is a guy named Vinnie Jones, a former footballer. That's his house right there. It's a tough guy, but it says Sunshine on his driveway because that's his personality. And we're going to go by a couple of houses that we're having a fight with, litigation-wise, because these guys really hate to hear tour guides. So I'm going to shut up for a minute.